Welcome to EQAI Morning Briefing for September 13th, your go-to source for today's top financial and business news. Let's kick things off with Kroger. The retailer has been in a prolonged battle with the Federal Trade Commission over its planned merger with Albertsons. While there's been significant pushback, analysts believe that resolving this issue could be a major catalyst for Kroger's stock. Next up, Jim Cramer has listed his top 10 things to watch in the stock market this Friday. The S&P 500 is aiming to close out the week with its fifth consecutive positive session, which could spell good news for investors. Moving on to a more sobering topic, Americans lost a record $5.6 billion to crypto scams last year. The FBI has flagged this as a significant concern, particularly highlighting the need to be wary of too-good-to-be-true investment opportunities. In political news, there's been buzz around the so-called Harris trade. However, one analyst warns that investors might be overestimating the impact of Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris on the stock market. Switching gears to tech and travel, United Airlines announced that it will offer free Starlink connectivity on flights by 2025. This means passengers will have internet access at 35,000 feet, a move that could revolutionize in-flight entertainment and productivity. On the economic front, import prices declined in August, adding to a series of tame inflation readings. This has primed the Federal Reserve to potentially cut interest rates next week. Despite falling interest rates, many people are still clinging to cash, CDs, and savings accounts, preferring a steady 5% interest over riskier investments. In the retail sector, RH's strong demand trends have analysts bullish on the stock. This is a clear point of differentiation amid mixed premium furnishings trends and negative investor sentiment. Meanwhile, Wells Fargo has hit another snag with regulators. Analysts note that while this issue may not be immediately resolved, it's not a reason to panic just yet. In other airline news, Starlink has also inked deals with Hawaiian Airlines and semi-private operator JSX, further expanding its in-flight internet services. Boeing is facing a tough time as its machinists' union voted to go on strike. This comes just as the company's stock was already struggling. In personal finance, a startling report reveals that about 40% of Americans are likely to run out of money before they die. This underscores the need for better retirement planning. And in a cautionary tale, former football standout Travis Harris has landed in prison for stealing nearly $1 million in COVID relief aid, driven by what he describes as greed and pride. For those hesitant to invest in non-U.S. stocks, you're missing out. U.S. equities might represent 70% of the combined market cap of all developed economy stocks, but this dominance won't last forever. Oil futures are on track for weekly gains after Hurricane Francine disrupted output in the Gulf of Mexico, though concerns about demand still linger. Activist investor Engine Capital is pushing for a new board at Upwork after taking a 4% stake. They believe there are foundational issues that need to be addressed. In e-commerce, the Biden administration is cracking down on companies like Temu and Shein, citing abuse of trade loopholes. Jim Cramer also chimed in, saying he wouldn't boot any of his 12 core stocks and might even add one more. He also listed 3 tech CEOs he trusts: Amazon's Andy Jassy, Broadcom's Hock Tan, and Nvidia's Jensen Huang. Investor sentiment dipped in September, but this might actually be a good sign for stock bulls, according to the AAI's Bullish Sentiment Survey. On the savings front, the most recommended high-yield savings accounts for September 2024 are out, offering some of the best rates in the market. In the UK, Vodafone's proposed merger with Three could lead to higher phone bills, according to the Competition and Markets Authority. Treasury yields are slipping as investors ramp up bets on a 50 basis point Fed rate cut next week. Oracle's stock has been soaring after a rosy growth forecast, while Genentech received FDA approval for a new cancer treatment. South Korea is appealing a ruling in favor of Elliott Management in a Samsung merger case for the second time, signaling ongoing legal battles. Small-cap stocks are outperforming the S&P 500 this quarter, with investors expecting Fed rate cuts to provide a boost. J.D. Vance accused Apple of benefiting from Chinese slave labor, a controversial statement that has sparked considerable debate. And lastly, SpaceX pulled off its first commercial spacewalk with the Polaris Dawn crew, marking a historic milestone for the company. That wraps up today's EQAI Morning Briefing. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time with more of the latest financial and business news.